Well, let's bring in Pierre Vanek. He is a member of the city's local parliament for the leftist Solidarity Party. Pierre, thanks so much for joining us. The separation of church and state versus freedom of religion or freedom of speech, whichever you choose to argue. Now, many argue, though, including in the United States, that you can be a secular state while allowing people the freedom to wear whatever religious symbols they want. Why do you think the Canton of Geneva didn't see it that way?
Well, nearly half of the Canton of Geneva, the half which I represent, saw it that way. There was a majority in Parliament against this freedom of religion and of religious opinion in the public sector, in Parliament and in other matters. I think basically it's a reflex, a retrograde and reactionary reflex. We are in uncertain times, and people are trying to hide or to protect themselves behind an identity which is made also of the classic Genevese Protestant Christian identity, which is in contradiction with an open Geneva, which is another aspect of our city and our small state.
Right. I mean, is it simply pure Islamophobia?
Well, there is certainly the people who were in favor of this law were not necessarily all Islamophobic, but they managed to mobilize, and maybe this was one reason of their victory. They managed to mobilize an Islamophobic sentiment in a part of the population, which is something quite sad, I would say, because Geneva is a tolerant, open city normally, and this shouldn't exist here.
Pierre, your party, Ensemble à Gauche, has submitted actually a new bill for parliamentary review that would exclude this religious symbols ban. I want you to tell us a little bit about that bill and why you essentially think it just works better for everyone.
Well, basically, the ban is problematic. Geneva is a very diverse, multicultural society. We have 40% of residents in Geneva are strangers coming from all over the world, and we have a real melting pot in Geneva in its population. I would like to see the same melting pot, the same diversity represented in the public services. There are more than probably 50,000 people who are in the scope of this bill who will have to hide their religious opinions or identity when serving the public. That is not a satisfactory state of affairs, and it's particularly scandalous that parliamentarians, in my opinion, we have a Christian Democrat party who is represented in Parliament. They can say that they are Christians, but any other, because they are a traditional historic party in Switzerland, but any other political current having a religious reference would be banned from stating it publicly in Parliament.
I need to ask you though, Pierre, are you optimistic that your version of this bill will be passed?
Well, I am optimistic that the struggle we have begun with this referendum, because the present bill was passed into law with a very large majority of the Genevese parliament. 25% was the level of the opposition. We got it to a popular vote, and we got up the opposition to 45%. So I'm confident that maybe not tomorrow, but in time we will get our point of view through argument, through discussion, will be recognized as being more democratic, more legitimate than the opposing view.
Sure. In the meantime, though, there are pending legal challenges. I mean, how far do you think those will get? Because the argument for freedom of religion and freedom of speech is very strong in a democracy.
It is very strong indeed, and I am relatively confident that we can win. There are different things that are being put in front of first the local Genevese tribunal, constitutional court, and then we will go to the federal Swiss tribunal. It can finish, it can end in Strasbourg maybe. I am moderately confident that we can obtain some successes in this area of intervention.
I have to mention, though, there are other aspects to this law that its supporters hold up, which include, for example, the voluntary religious tax that used to be distributed between the three main churches will now be shared among all other religious communities. They say, see, this is not Islamophobia. We are applying this to all religions, and we're actually making things fairer. Is that progress?
Well, basically, if I can answer on that point, basically, today, the three traditional Christian religions are getting the product of this voluntary tax. They have opened the system up formally on paper. It is open to everybody, but no other religious community has asked to benefit from this tax. Muslims haven't asked it, the Jews have not asked for it, and other evangelical religions haven't asked for it. And basically, my point of view is that in a secular state, the state shouldn't be financing religion by taxes in any form or way.
Okay, and just to conclude, should your legislation not pass, as you've proposed it, should these legal challenges fail and these new laws stand as they are, where do you think that leaves Swiss democracy, the tolerance that you are yourself very proud of?
Well, it is a black mark, a black spot on, well, maybe not Swiss, but Genevese, because this is a local affair in the canton of Geneva. You know, we are a very federal state.
Yes.
It is a black mark against human rights in Geneva, and I think we will continue our fight until this black mark is removed.
Okay. Pierre Vanek, with that, we will leave it. I'd like to thank you so much for joining us there from Geneva.